Rolling Quartz. They have a brand new song. It's called RE BOLD. It's an interesting name. Doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, but I'm excited for this because, well, do you know what? Rolling Quartz, as I mentioned before, I won't bore you with the whole story again, but they're a band whose name had been bouncing around in the community, the OBR online music community, for years, and I kind of picked up dribs and drabs, but only recently in the last few months, so I seriously started sitting down and listening to their music, and I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed lots of things that I think, as well, other people maybe didn't like. There were some people who were saying that they didn't think Rolling Quartz's sound was heavy enough. It was too poppy, some people were saying, and I was actually, no, I like the fact that the guitars are kind of turned down a little bit in the mix, so you got a little bit more punch. Everything feels like it's got more room to breathe and have life. Loving the vocal style. I'm loving it. It's really cool. There's obviously going to be things you love about every band and certain things you hope they do more of. When it comes to Rolling Quartz, though, I'm still very early on in the journey, so I'm looking forward to just seeing more and getting more familiar with them. And obviously, with a new single, that's a great way of seeing what they are doing now. So up until this point, I had checked out their debut single and their most recent single. Up until this point, so yeah, I'm just still trying to get to grips with what Rolling Quartz are, and certainly I'm really enjoying it. I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more of them flexing their various abilities, and I don't so much mean that as musicians. I more mean that as songwriters, because the songwriting is always the thing I love. That's what I go to more than even musicianship. There's brilliant musicians everywhere in the world. Brilliant songwriters are much harder to come by. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm really excited to hear this. I hope it's another one of those really cool songs that get stuck in your head, but also has loads of quality and nuance to it. Enough talk, let's get into it. This is the new Rolling Quartz song, RE BOLD. Is it turned up? Oh yeah. Oh! Is that the guitar effect? I am liking that guitar effect. Oh, I love that. That tone is cool. Oh, it's funky as well, isn't it? It's such a good build-up, I really hope it pays off in the chorus. It feels more like a soul song. Those little sarcastic sounding guitar runs and riffs, the cheeky melody and the funky feel, this feels more like a soul song played heavy, and I'm there for that. The very punky bass is doing a lot to drive this. It's a very root note bass, but it's kind of holding together a song that's bouncing around everywhere else. That's lovely. Those little skips, those attentions to detail. It sounds like they're having fun. Whoa. Wow, that escalated quickly. Someone unlocked the After Effects pack and now everything's going to get blown up.
RE BOLD.
It's a weird thing to put at the end of your song, but credit on being unique. Okay, now I'm going to have to give a shout out. Yes, okay, you got the After Effects pack. We get it. I really enjoyed that, but this kind of brought something to my mind. I was thinking as we got towards the end of this song, because as I said, I mean, everything about the way this song is structured, the feel, the rhythm, it feels much more like a kind of a sort of a. Someone's going to probably need to give me a more specific subgenre or anything, but that sort of feel of those sort of kind of funky, soulful songs. It's got that. I wish I could think of a really good example, but it feels much more like it's written that way than like a heavy rock song. And I like that, playing that through the filter of a heavy rock song, having that high impact rock sound, but having a song that feels, it sort of skips with a rhythm that's a little bit more soulful, which goes very well with the lead singer. Sorry, I don't remember everyone's names. The lead singer's vocals go much well with that, because she's obviously got that really nice, crisp, sort of soulful singing voice anyway. And the effects that the lead guitarist was using was so cool. They had that little bit of a tinge of wah to them. There's a little bit of wah wah going on in there, but just the effects had this kind of playful, sarcastic sound that, again, almost a bit like Tom Morello. It's kind of, well, Tom Morello goes slightly into more surreal and noise rock territory sometimes with his effects, but a lot of the time having those effects that feel like they're rooted more in a kind of a funk sort of area than just like a heavy rock area. More about the kind of the weird sort of wah tonality than just the grittiness. And of course that's supported by the fact that underneath that you have like a really gritty rhythm guitar going on. And also the bass. Now the bass is interesting because the bass here is doing something that, again, I am often quite critical, which is just sort of holding the root note of the chords. That would get boring to me in a lot of cases. Here, the reason it works quite well, first of all, the bass is clearly being played with a bit of a punk sound. I mean, it sounds like it's being played with a pick. I didn't really pay attention, but it sounded like that. It's got that really nice sort of punk tone where you can hear the rattling of the bass, you can hear the body of the bass. Really like that. So that gave it a little bit of attitude. Once again, tonality is very important, but it also meant that the song had this kind of very charging core where the center, everything was being picked out by the bass, and the bass was holding the chord pattern in a way that meant that where usually I like the bass to be experimenting and playing around, the bass was holding it very solid so that everything else around it was having a chance to bounce around, crazy little breaks in the rhythm on the drum kit, those really playful guitar licks that were appearing everywhere. There's quite a lot of bounce and rhythm change in the vocals as well. It felt like a song where there was a lot of room to experiment and it was being used. And again, like Rolling Quartz songs tend to, it felt like there was a lot of room to breathe, whereas a lot of their contemporaries, the sounds all feel very mashed in because it's like trying to be loud, loud, loud. And I don't just mean that in terms of compression, but everyone's playing a loud effect. All the guitars are really gritty. It just feels with Rolling Quartz there's more room for things to breathe, and they used it well, and the result was a song that, like I say, kind of felt more like a funky soul song than it did like a rock song, and yet it had the rock credentials in all the necessary ways. And anyway, the point that I was trying to get round to with all of this was a very interesting example of the very thing that I have. I mean, obviously this channel, we mainly focus on Japanese music, and one of the main credits I give to Japanese music is that ability to be like not scared of genre boundaries. Someone said, no one's going to say, oh, that's not metal, because then it's like, well, you've missed the point, because we don't stay within a genre. We mix genres, we take things from different places. That's what I love about when I see Japanese musicians write, and we're seeing a lot of that from other Asian countries as well. Is there's this really fantastic increase of increasing amount of bands coming out from these various countries. We're talking about bands from Thailand recently as well. And so when I hear something like this, it's interesting because it's not the sort of mashing of genres that we're used to hearing, where maybe there'll be a pop bit and then a metal bit or something like that. It was very interesting because it just felt like it was a funk or a soul song. I don't really know exactly where in that particular Venn diagram to put it, somewhere in between. That style of writing played through a rock lens, and it felt to me like a mash of genres. It didn't feel simply like one genre of music. It felt like a mash of genres. And yeah, so that brought out a smile on my face as well, because I felt that. I felt like it was very well handling two different things at the same time. So I thought this was great. I really enjoyed it. Good catchy chorus as well. Is it their best chorus? Maybe not, but it certainly was functional at the time. Kept you bobbing along. The song had plenty of energy, plenty of life, plenty of attitude. I'm really glad, because when I listen to bands, after a while sometimes sometimes I get a little bit bored of them. I haven't got anything exciting to say that I haven't said in the previous reviews, and maybe I've stopped listening to them. But because there's no point in me just dribbling out a reaction where I don't say anything interesting. Well, at least that I hope is interesting. But with this, I'm excited. This is great. I listened to this, and yes, it's kept a lot of the things I love about Rolling Quartz, but I feel like there's something exciting in here. There's something new to pick up. It's something that feels like, oh, there's something to talk about in this. And that's credit enough for a band when you're not just churning out the same shit over and over again. So I really like this. I thought it was great. Get in the comments. Tell me what you think. And until I hopefully see you very soon here in Japan or wherever you are in the world, for now, ciao, ciao.